Okay, it's looking like we are live on YouTube. There we go. All right. Well, welcome everybody to Mappy Hour. This is our happy hour for those of us who love maps.
Did you turn the sound down?
I did.
Okay.
This is happy hour for those of us who love maps, also known as geocachers. So cheers, everybody. We have made it to another Friday. And we've made it to another June solstice. So cheers for that, everybody.
No,
Oh, you need to bring a little tray up closer.
I guess.
Yeah. We had to quickly put our office back together. We've had family visiting and a young family member actually sleeping down here. So, but they've gone on home, and so we're a little discombobulated getting moving back into the home office and studio. But timing worked out well. So, gosh, good to see everybody. Well, welcome. I am Lisa. Look out, Lisa, one of your hosts tonight for Mappy Hour. This is our other host.
I'm JD, Kid Vegas 19, and I'm looking at YouTube.
Yeah, yes, you are. Yeah, so if you are watching us live on YouTube, welcome everybody from our YouTube fans and family. Feel free to join in the conversation via chat right on YouTube, and Kid Vegas will bring in your comments as quickly and as appropriately as we can. And of course, this is being recorded as well onto our YouTube channel. And I forgot to hit record here, but I don't think that matters since we're going into it's streaming into YouTube just fine. Yeah.
So yeah, Mike, we had to recombobulate, but those efforts went awry.
As usual. Right. So our topic tonight is about day caching versus night caching. You know, with the today being the solstice and an opportunity for souvenirs, which we want to hear about and talk about as well. It got me thinking about for those of us here in the Northwest, it's a really long day. We've got like, I don't know, 15 hours of daylight. And then we also have our friends from Australia joining us, and it's a very short daylight day, but a much longer night. So it really matters where you are in the world, obviously, as to how you experience the June solstice versus the December solstice. And that got me thinking about night caching. And it's been a while since we've talked about night caching. And to tie that all together, I thought we would discuss, you know, what's your favorite? Do you like to cache in the daylight? Do you enjoy caching at night? And tips and hints for either type of those types of caching. But before we get to that, we do have notes from the field. We'd love to know what sort of geocaching activities y'all have been up to in the last couple of weeks, or maybe the plans that you have coming up as well. And for that, everybody gets 2 minutes that would like to share. That way, we get a chance to hear from everybody that would like to share, and then we can move on to our main topic. Before even that, we do have some ground rules just to keep the conversation flowing along nicely. If you are in Zoom with us here, just keep yourself on mute. If you'd like to join in the conversation, raise your hand on Zoom. So, you know, put your hand up or you can wave as well. And again, if you're on watching us on YouTube, go ahead and type into the chat there, and we will call on you to join in. However, sometimes the conversation changes, and maybe you've got an answer for somebody and you didn't have your hand up. So go ahead and wave at us, and we'll pull you into the conversation if you might have an answer or a comment on the particular point of the conversation that we are at. Again, keep everything family friendly. Treat it like you would any geocaching event. Might have kids in the rooms with us or watching on YouTube. And it is being, like I said, recorded as well and will be available eventually in our Mappy Hour Hub in perpetuity to binge watch at your leisure. So yeah, whew, I think that covers all of the bases.
Yeah.
Oh, whew, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, what have y'all been up to? Let's go ahead and jump to notes from the field. I think we've got Robert, Tom Fuller, and then Mike kicking us off. So go ahead.
Yeah, so last weekend I did a geocaching event as a community celebration event. So it was our local geocachers called Seek the Cache, and they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. So they did a community celebration theme around that with geocaching. And along with that, they had a food truck outside the brewery they were at. So I was able to get some brisket, which I always love a good brisket. And then a side of mac and cheese, got to exchange some travel bugs, and then hang out and talk geocaching. And then this morning, I got to do a regular geocaching event for the summer solstice and earn the souvenir.
Excellent. Excellent.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. You've been busy. 50th anniversary, and they're still geocaching. That's awesome.
Yes, it's always fun to have those wedding anniversaries roll around.
For sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing. I think it was Tom Fuller and Quill next.
Yeah, yeah, I went out and I found a multi-cache this morning. I haven't been caching for a while, but I went out and earned the souvenir for this. And I visited what was once the town of Shevlin, which was a moving town in Oregon. It was part of the Shevlin-Hickson logging crew. They moved their town at least twice, maybe three times. They moved their logging crew, and it was about 16 miles down 31 from 97, and then I had to find the first stage of the multi and got that, and then I had to figure out how to find the cache using my phone. I didn't have my GPS with me,
Oh,
and yeah, so down on the navigate thing, they have the your present coordinate and where you're going to, and I just knew it had to be in a southeasterly direction, and it was about 3/10 of a mile from my, but I found it, and it hadn't been found. Yeah, it was last found by Log Scaler last November. So,
oh wow.
so yeah, Log Scale is one of my favorite charter members.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You obviously been
Yeah,
on.
that's all I did today.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank
That's
you.
good
you.
enough. Yeah, good to see you. I think next we have Mike.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, yeah. I got a ping a couple of days ago on something a few miles away, and amazingly enough, nobody else had found it yesterday. Because Wednesday I was working, but we got Juneteenth off. So I hopped on my scooter, went up there. It was a to what used to be the post office for Lincoln Park. They've turned it into some kind of museum, and the post office is a big modern building farther up Fort Street. But a quick thing, the interesting part was it took me the better part of 20 minutes to retighten the log enough so that I could fit it back in that tube.
Oh, oh my goodness.
Yeah, they had that thing packed. Prying it out was a bit of a trick too. Fortunately, I had my Leatherman with me. So not a whole lot, just a random geocache. Like I said, logged it, and then it's like, while I'm trying to tighten it enough so it'll fit. And I probably battered the edges a bit doing that because they had wound it very tight.
Hmm.
So, because it was a multi-layer log bound together and rolled up so they can fit lots and lots more logs than I think they're likely to get at that location. But And yeah, that's it really. Just the cache of the week.
Excellent.
Okay. Yeah, a little manual dexterity
Hmm.
exercise. So fun. All right.
Hmm.
Thanks, Mike. So we've got Melissa, Scott, and then Vince. So Melissa. You're on mute.
Sorry. I've returned from Utah. Um, did not get down to the oldest. It was farther. We were way up in the northeast corner. We did go to Wyoming and Idaho because of where we were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we actually got 3 states out of it. But on Sunday, I did get to attend an event with Hiking Seal. And then actually got to see her again Monday at the airport because she was flying out just after we were flying out.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so it was a really nice trip. Not a whole lot of geocaching, but I think I got 10 different icons in Utah. Instead of getting massive amounts, I went for variety.
Yeah.
That's not a
So,
bad plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like that plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because my husband's happy to do a little bit of geocaching.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Do the
I think
variety
he,
of them.
yes, with what he did with me, I think he's up to 23 caches logged now.
Hey.
So, but no, it was a great trip and it was fun to see hiking seal again and have dry weather. It's been so wet here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys been hit with a lot of rain back that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you had a good trip and welcome back. Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. So let's see. We have Scott and then Vince.
And Scott set some caches, found some caches. But I think the two highlights that I would share is going back to Michigan, had a little trip back to Michigan, got to do a little small event when Vince was there, and then had the opportunity to kind of sneak away while everybody was watching TV or something. And I got to go to a community celebration event, which was kind of fun because he had a kind of a variation of Jeopardy with a geocaching trivia contest. And although I wasn't going to be able to stay, so I didn't participate, it was fun and interesting. The other curious thing that happened is I have a really fun cache called As Time Permits, and it's over at the Ventura Harbor launch ramp, and you can get a 1 hour free permit there for parking. So for the last 10 years, I've had a cache there that you punch in instead of punching in your license number, you punch in your geocaching name and you get your 1 hour free permit. And then you slide it in the collection plate. And I should have bought it here, but I have like a 2 inch pile on my desk, which is the log, several hundred logs. And unfortunately, they changed their machine and it no longer gives out a permit.
Yeah.
So I looked at that with great disappointment and then realized, oh, you can get a receipt. So you punch it in and then you ask for a receipt and they will text you a receipt. So that is now a multi-cache in which you get texted the receipt and you have to tell me some information that's on that receipt to prove that you were there. And then it gives you the location of where the cache is. So it's just a basic multi-cache. So waiting for that to publish.
Mhm.
But I'm really proud of the way I was able to take a lemon and make lemonade. So that's it.
But
Yeah, and it's a great way to, free up our play space there. Or what's the word I'm looking
Refresh the game board.
Thank you. That's
My
it. Yeah.
pleasure.
Thanks. I knew you would know, obviously. And they make a whole new cache. So people that have
yeah.
already been there once, they can go back and find a smiley and Yeah,
Yep.
And get training on the new system. Yeah.
Right.
Get trained on the new system and get a free 1 hour parking permit to hang around the harbor for a little bit.
Absolutely. Get the tour.
Yeah.
The 1 hour tour.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that. I love that idea. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Vince next. Oh, you're on mute, Vince.
Can
You're breaking up, but we can hear you.
you that? There
Vince, you're breaking up so badly,
You really,
you might turn off your video.
yeah, we can't hear you, Vince, or see you well. Can you turn off your video? No, he's frozen up.
There might be some on our end because
It's possible. Jane LA is trying to come in and twice.
yeah.
You're looking fine from here.
Okay, okay. So Vince, we recommend turning off your camera. There you go. Now try talking.
Eh,
No, we don't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, a little bit. And not anymore.
Okay, help. Can you hear?
Not very well. Vince, I'd recommend you leave the room and come back in. We just might have a bad connection. And while you're doing that, we're going to go ahead and share our notes from the field.
Whew, we gotta stretch it then.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't done much. We went to an event last Friday night, shocked people.
We did.
Said, do you not have Mappy Hour? And we said, not for this event, we canceled Mappy Hour.
Yeah.
And
It was all literally walking distance from our house, but we did drive.
yeah. And then after that, Saturday, we had gone out to Cheney, where her parents live, and Eastern Washington University is there. And you have a tradition. Well, you should explain. It's your tradition.
Yeah, so I take my dad geocaching for Father's Day. We've been doing it for probably 20 years. And we haven't made it every year, and sometimes it's a week or a month off, just depending on if one of us is traveling or something. But we really wanted to do it, and Saturday was the best day for that. And my dad's 95 now, and just still really loves adventure. He can't walk as far. We're not, climbing mountains like we have done in the past. We've, scaled Mount Spokane and done many other adventures over the years. But he's retired from the university, Eastern Washington University, and so is my stepmom. And so there was a really nicely put together adventure lab that took us all around campus. And it was graduation day.
All darn day.
They had six
6 of them.
6 separate graduations. They'd fill up the stadium, do their thing for an hour or two, and then everybody would disperse and they'd do it all over again. So it was just constant strange traffic. Obviously not students on campus, but they were up at that red field, is it Roos Field at the where the football and track and field stadium is. So it was just interesting working our way around that, and parking was a nightmare in some areas and a desert in others. So, but it was fun. And then we also had your family along.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. My son who lives in Minnesota now is out. Daughter-in-law and step grandson, I guess. Grandson.
Grandson. Yeah,
And
he's 13.
so the Adventure Lab had an attached bonus to it, which was figured out and easily found. And my son knows geocaching, has been geocaching, and so the three of us knew right away what it was, which was the magnetic electrical plate
Utility
thing.
plate.
Utility plate. It was on an electrical box, and And so Sarah, we left her to find it. And when um, she says, "Well, I know it's not that," and she pointed right to it, and we're all going.
Are you sure?
And then she moved it a little bit, and you just see her mind just, "What's this?" So that was good to get that view again,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
from finding one of these. Yeah, that was the last one. That was the last one we did.
Yeah, it was kind of an all-day adventure and some doing some chores over at my folks, helping them out a little bit. They still live at home. Dad still mows his lawn and takes care of it. So we helped him
Hmm.
out on a few little projects there. And
Hmm.
then on the way out of town, we found the bonus.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a really fun day. So it was great to have from a 13-year-old to a 95-year-old out caching for kind of a pre-Father's Day. So we had one, two, three generations.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It was like
four generations.
herding one fast cat and the rest slow cats.
Yeah, 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 for sure. We kind of fell in the middle there. So that was our adventure. So,
Hmm.
and we do have a community event that is starting in 9 minutes, and it's about a 10-minute drive from here. So as soon as we wrap up, we're going to be jetting out to hang out with our local friends at our Solstice community event, not too far away. So, yeah, and then we have a big event tomorrow
Right.
as well, joining up with mountain bike and about 60 other people. And it is going to be a grand caravan to Camel's Prairie Stash, which is the oldest cache in Idaho. That's one that he hid back in 2000.
Hmm.
So we found it already, but we're just along for the adventure, help get people up the mountain somewhat. So,
So
oh, do you have one there?
yeah,
Yeah.
on YouTube, great two forever. This thing since we last watched, we hit over 800 finds and hit our first two caches.
Two matches. Good job, guys. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's some big numbers when you're
Hmm.
at that part of your geocaching career for sure. So welcome. All right, I see Annette has her hand up. Obviously, a day off for the Mariners. We haven't finished watching the game, so no spoilers, please. But good to see you.
Hey,
So,
Dick.
yeah, what have you guys been up to?
Well, I don't think I was on here 2 weeks ago. I don't know what we were doing because the Mariners were out of town, but I don't remember being on 2 weeks ago. I just wanted to give a special shout out to Melissa because I got to run into her several times at Geo Woodstock, and we spent a fair amount of time together one night, and it was a special treat. And I just want to thank her here publicly for her kindness to me while we were there.
Heck yeah.
And we got, wow, let's see, I guess it was 5 states and DC on that trip of the oldest caches. We failed on South Carolina though, because that trail is still so damaged from the hurricane back in October of 24. Um, it's, these 80-year-old legs are just not able to do what they used to do. And we made our way part of the way in this new route that took you way around, and you were still doing a considerable amount of bushwhacking and climbing over down trees and such. And we just finally decided that it was a better idea if we got out of there while we could still get out, and neither one of us had to call 911.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
very good.
Sometimes you just have to throw in the towel and say, nah, it's not going to work this time.
Oh yeah, so it was very similar at that event we were at last Friday. They're talking about taking a car to a cache that they thought they could get to by the an SUV type, and it was a muddy situation, and they're talking about how they put on the brakes, but they didn't even slow down. They just kept sliding. And and like you, when they came to a stop, they decided, okay, we'll get out of here, and then they were able to get out. Um, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yep, there are just sometimes that you just have to say, nope, this is not a wise decision. We need to rethink this. And I told him, I said, okay, I'll pay for the trip back.
Oh, nice. They're heading back. Oh, well, cool. I'm so glad that you guys had a
Thank
good
you.
time. Yeah, and you and Melissa got to connect up, so that's awesome.
Yeah, actually,
Mhm.
Melissa has her hand up.
Oh,
Yep,
she
then
did.
she did.
Yeah, I think Vince was left up still, or are we ready to move on into our topic?
Well, I thought Melissa's probably good.
Oh,
Yeah,
Melissa, yeah, did you have something to say?
yeah.
Yes, I wanted to say, as much as we complained about rain during Geo Woodstock, really it was the perfect weekend to be there because it has been a deluge ever
Yeah.
since.
Yeah.
Bad flooding in the area. And they have already fished 70 cars out of the one that floated off into one of the rivers from Sunday.
Mm.
So yes, we should be very thankful that Geo Woodstock was the weekend it was.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Wow.
and keep all the locals in your prayers. Everybody I know of is fine. So that means like the head crew and stuff, but there are lots of people struggling.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, we see tidbits on the news, but I haven't really looked at it closely. So yeah, it's time to do that.
It's just we have this streak of major, mega events, and now I guess, well,
Giga.
two gigas now.
Mm-hmm.
The ones we've attended sometime later, they flooded.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Cincinnati,
Cincinnati,
Rome.
Rome, this
Mm-hmm.
place, and then
Mm-hmm.
seemed there was one other as
Oh,
well. Oh,
Charles.
Charleston or Charles, St. Charles.
St. Charles. Yeah, by St. Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, yeah, thanks for
So
sharing that.
yeah, we probably won't be invited to Manhattan, Kansas next year. So
Flood.
yes.
Oh no. Yeah, so
There,
definitely
there,
keep.
there's a gap between them, but Abbotsburg also. They're not Abbotsburg. North Carolina was it?
Did they fled too?
Yeah, they flooded this
Mm.
Oh my
last year.
goodness. Yeah.
My goodness. Well, so Vince, I think he's ready to go this time.
Okay.
But it's still,
It's still choppy. We can't hear you.
we can see you. You don't look like you're going through a tunnel, but are you going through a tunnel?
No. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, I said I saw Scott, but then a few days later, I was delighted to see Bob and Nancy had come to a nearby event. Uh,
Oh, you're all,
nice to see them too. So,
your audio's all jumbled up again, Vince.
Mhm.
Vince, I'm gonna mute you. We can't understand what you're saying. It's just coming through garbled. I'm sorry. I wonder if,
Maybe we'll get a better connection in a bit.
yeah, or if, yeah, move about the house. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You look like you're in a different location, so that must be it. We'll keep
Okay.
trying, but I'm going to move on to Jim
Starcaster.
Starcasher. I know he joined us just a little bit ago.
Yeah, that's what I have to say here is, yeah, I had an event that was about, I don't know, 25 miles from my house that was a little late getting back from, so I joining late. So I missed the first part of the show, but I'll catch the rerun of it. So
Yeah.
see what I missed. But Vince, you might want to try to turn off your video while you're talking. That might help your audio too. So, and then turn it back on after you're done. But anyways, yeah, that is wanted to say that. Yeah, I'm joining late because well, I had an event to attend. So. But I wanted to attend an event this weekend. It was the only one that was close, so that I could get the souvenir.
Right.
Sure.
Mhm.
Oh well, that's it.
Okay.
Great. Good deal. So how many of us have got the souvenir yet already today? I know a few of us have. Yeah. We will shortly when we're done here, when we attend our event. But you can also get it by finding a cache or I believe logging a Adventure Lab stop too. So lots of options today, tomorrow, and Sunday as well. So be sure to do something this weekend geocaching related above and beyond Mappy Hour. So cool. So I guess we'll go ahead and jump to our topic tonight, which is day caching versus night caching and what your preference is and tips that you'd like to share perhaps or some adventures that maybe you have had. I personally love night caching when the weather's nice, although I have done it in snowstorms as well, doing some night caching. So it's better with company, with a bigger group, but it's also, can be a fun if you feel safe experience on your own out in the dark, but always safety first for sure. But day caching also brings along other, muggle type problems too. You're more, people can see you.
Yeah.
But also in the nighttime too, if you're walking around with headlights or flashlights too, those cause problems as well. But I really do enjoy all types of caching, so maybe I'm really not the one to weigh in one way or the other. I like them all. Yeah, but I see that Scott has raised his hand, so love to hear from you, Scott. What are your thoughts?
First off, when I saw the topic, I thought, gosh, I have not gone night caching for a long, long time. Used to do a lot of it. Used to be a first to find hound and started my job at 6 in the morning. So I would, be out of the house at 4:30 to go do some first to find hounding and then did a lot of night hiking and so forth. Um, but I haven't done it for a long time, and I'm now you are got me curious on why.
Uh-huh.
So, anyways, but the one tip that I had, and this is for anybody who does a lot of night hiking, this was the best thing that I ever came up with. I had a headlamp, and then I also had a little backpack that had a little strap here. And so I took another light and I put it on that strap and then I adjusted it. And that was like perfect because now I always had a light on the ground and then a light wherever I was looking. And so that's a helpful hint for anybody who decides to want to do night hiking.
That's a
That's it.
great tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you just have the headlamp on, you have to look down, or if maybe it's adjustable, but you still have
They're
to do that
adjustable,
counting.
but
Mhm.
every time you move, they're pointing where you're looking and
Yeah,
not always pointing at the ground. So
right.
yeah, so that was a good little tip. And I guess the other thing that happens when you night cache, you get a lot more opportunity to talk to police officers because you you are not as visible, but more visible. Police officers are trained to look for things that are not normal, out of normal circumstances, and people walking around at night with flashlights looking in branches are unusual and reason to have probable cause to at least talk to you. But
Yeah.
again, remember that what we're doing is not illegal, so
Mhm.
just explain it and then be on your way.
So when you did a lot of the night caching, it sounds like they weren't necessarily specifically night caches. You were just caching at night.
I was just caching at night. Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's I
that
like doing
counts.
that.
Yeah, definitely that counts too.
Hmm
Yeah. That can be a whole different experience. And in the middle of summer, when it's hot, that's the time to go, if not early morning. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Cool. Thanks. Good tips.
Sure.
Yeah, that's definitely true about more opportunities to get to
Yeah.
know our local law enforcement officers.
Well, real quick, let me jump in with Houston, Texas. Dave
Hey, Dave.
is on the YouTubes and he's saying happy Friday summer solstice to us all. And West Virginia Woodstock did a great job.
Well, yes, they
Yep.
did. Yeah, that was such a good time. Yeah, it was a really fun event. Yeah, cool. Well, good to see you, Dave. And we do have some more hands that
It's
have come up.
Melissa and then
Jim and Goat. So yeah, Melissa.
So I've only done a couple of night designated caches, but when you live someplace that at least a few months of the year it gets dark at 4:30, if you're going to cache in the winter, you're going to cache in the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, unless you're doing it weekends or what, type thing, or you're retired and don't, work days, whatever. But so I really prefer nights with somebody else just to feel safe. um, but I have done a few, but they're more like parking lots, and those aren't really dark.
Yeah.
So, but but the day caching, um, when you day cache with a muggle, they're not afraid to talk to other muggles in the area.
Hmm.
When we were in Utah, there was this cache in a cemetery at a gazebo. And I was there was a lovely couple swinging on the swing in the gazebo. So I'm trying to be totally unobtrusive. My husband just goes up and talks to them and tells them what we're doing. And the guy knew what geocaching was and had done some. The girl didn't, but they helped us find the geocache.
Love it.
And I was kind of like, yeah, that's not quite the idea, dear. Afterwards, I said, you're supposed to avoid muggles. He's like, well, we didn't have time for that. So, but yeah, I mean, day caching can make certain things a lot easier, but night caching can make more adventures.
Mhm. Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks, Melissa, for sharing that. Yeah, Jim, I think you might even own some night caches. Love to hear from you.
Yeah, I do actually own a couple of them. And I'm speaking solely about night caches, not doing day caches at night. And I like Scott's idea of the strap, the light on the strap that's always pointing in the ground. On the other hand, I hate headlamps. You're out at night and you have the headlamp on and you go to talk to your friend and you shine your headlamp in their eyes and blind them.
Yes.
And to me, night caching season is the early fall.
Mm-hmm.
September, very late August and September. It's still pretty warm out, but it gets dark early. The problem around here with a lot of night caches is if you're lucky, the parks stay open after sundown, and you stay open until like 10 or something. But like this time of year, it's next to impossible to do a night cache legally in some of the parks.
Yeah.
But like I say, it tends to be warm. And if you're planning a night cache, you plan it around a full moon.
Yeah.
And except when you're looking for the little reflector thingies, you don't need a light. You let your eyes adjust to the dark and you walk down the trail and you're not shining lights anywhere. And it's just a ton of fun to be out on a moonlit night walking through the woods.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I would say about night caches is that I like to not just use the flashlight. I have the GPS, or I guess the phone, and the flashlight. And the first night cache I ever did that I adopted years later, You walk 2 miles through the woods, following your GPS and trails. And then when you get to the location, you shine the light around and you get coordinates to the next location. And again, you walk another half mile through the woods, not looking for a breadcrumb trail of reflectors. You're following your GPS. And then again, you get coordinates, and the final was just an ammo can that didn't have any reflectors at all. You found it like it was a day cache. And then of course you've done that one, I'm sure, Scotophobia. It's to me it's the classic night cache. Maybe it's because it's the first one I did. So anyway, but I don't like headlamps. You look at you talk to someone, you look at them, and you blind them.
Yeah.
But the chest idea, that's great, shining on the ground. But again, wait for a full moon to do your night cache, and then you don't need that either.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah. Scotophobia was one of the first night caches that I did too. And I did that one. I've done it many times actually. In its various variations. Once when it was a different type of, not a geocaching,
Terraform.
That other site that starts with a T.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That one. Yeah, and I've done it. That was one that I did in a snowstorm by myself, but I had my dog with me.
Oh.
And yeah, and I also agree on the full moon. Back in the day, I used to hold those monthly full moon get-togethers, unofficial events, at meet an hour before sunset somewhere at a restaurant, and then launch from there and go night caching. Maybe it's time to get those going again here in late August.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the one out of that series I remember is the one Bike Lee and Treckley did, and you went to the coordinates, and then we were way early. It was
Oh, I remember that.
so we had to wait because the reflectors were important.
And it was too light.
Yeah, because you had to look for a certain set of reflectors. And it finally got dark enough to where reflectors reflected, and we discovered they just painted the forest with tacks. And, and you had to look for a pattern to find where the cache was. And you had to be at the right angle to find it. As you moved around, some tacks went out of view and others came in. And
yeah, they're not all 360 or 180 view. So you
Yeah.
have to shine your light right on them, some of those types of tacks.
yeah, so it was that one was different.
Yeah, that was a fun one. That was down off of where the Cheney Spokane Road comes into 95 there, Pullman Road.
Yeah, and I know I did another one of Bike Lee's that was actually a driving tour.
Oh yeah.
So you were looking at reflectors, and that last one, how far away is this? I just kept driving and driving and driving, and I got to like Rockford. I'm saying, okay, this is probably too far. And it was. I missed it.
Yeah.
It was there. Everybody else had no problems, but
That was a different way to do it, although it was in a neighborhood, and I don't think it lasted very long. Yeah. Oh, Scott's got a video doing a trail of 60 night caches. Wow. 60 night cache trail. Cool. I'll have to check that one out. Thanks.
And then Houston, Texas Dave likes nighttime tribute caches. Says they're fun. Maybe a tribute cache to celebrate a milestone, something like that.
Interesting idea.
Yeah. And then piggybacking on what Scott said, night cachers tend to have the opportunity to encounter a Sasquatch more often. So yeah, it's true.
Yes, that could happen. Or a zebra even.
Yeah.
Cool. I think we've got Jim Starcacher.
Yep, I was just gonna say that. One of my favorite things that's at Midwest Geobash is that every year they have one of the night caches back in the woods behind the fairgrounds. And they replace it every year, so it's slightly different, although it kind of follows somewhat the same general path, but they always change it a little bit. But every year it's basically a new cache every year and I think I do it usually during the well, what used to be 3 days, now it's 5 days at Midwest Geobash. I do it now about 3 times during that weekend because I always do it once early before it really gets kind of beaten down and whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll do it again a few nights later just so I can redo it. But I also do it usually someplace near the end of the bash. I'll do it in the daytime without, you know, trying to follow it just by walking through the path because of course by then all the path is well worn, so you can basically somewhat follow it even in the daytime. But it's kind of fun then trying to see all the things that are hidden because they always hide secret things along the path.
Oh.
That makes it interesting to go do that one. But you can see them better at the day; those things better at the daytime. So I always do it once in the daytime and probably twice at night just to enjoy it. Now the one my most memorable night caches though were if I remember what Geo Woodstock 13 I think it is the one that was in Maryland that was near the West Virginia Tim stuff
Mm-hmm.
and I was
Jonesboro.
doing
Yeah.
yeah I was doing the West Virginia Tim's gadget caches, the trail. It was a trail, and one of the gadget caches was a night cache that you had to do at night up in Weather Mountain, whatever it was. But that was a fun. That's probably my most memorable one is doing the West Virginia Tim gadget cache at night in the mountains of West Virginia. And I think I also did. I think there were a couple other night caches in that same area that, you know, we went there. I went to do that one like about 10 o'clock, but I think I left the area about 2 or 3 in the morning because we did like, 2 or 3 other night caches that were in the general area. So that was a very memorable experience, not only for the West Virginia Tim one. I don't know if West Virginia Tim did the other ones or whether that was other people that did the other ones, but they were all good ones to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in this weird, eerie thing up in the mountains. I'm not used to being in the mountains at night, but so yeah, those were my most memorable night ones were the West Virginia Tim one and the ones that were around there, whether they were West Virginia Tim or others. That was the most memorable. Was that every year doing the Midwest Geobash and those? I don't know how many I did, 2 or 3 that night. That was, wonderful.
Hmm.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, last year I never had a chance to get out to do the night cache at Midwest. So, and then I think they had to shut it down because of a landowner was having some trespassing issues. But I think they resolved it. I just remember that was a problem briefly. So, yeah, stay on the path. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, it's interesting what Jim Starcasher is talking about, some really nice gadgety cache type thing, purpose built for the night.
Yeah.
And then Mountain Goat Jim's talking about scotophobia. That one, I don't recommend that one to be anybody's first night cache,
No.
but I think for half of all of us around there it was. And because you're out in this field, uh, and there's a little marshland area to it, and
Depending on the time of year, it can be dry or it can be a little lake.
if you're doing it at night, it's very, very dark, and the coyotes are howling off in the distance.
Yeah.
And then they're pretty close howling, and then they're off in the distance again. They never stop howling.
Yeah.
And then the cows are there.
Oh, that's right. Watch out for livestock.
Yep. And
Porcupines.
Yep.
Yeah. Night cacher. I was caching with our friend. His caching name is Night Cacher. He actually saved my dog from getting into a porcupine.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yes. And so yeah, night caching the pretty uh one of the unique aspects to it.
Mhm.
But I think really I do enjoy just caching at night.
Yeah.
Um, uh, it's enjoyable to cache at night. Uh, we had a little group of people that did night hikes, is what they amounted to
Mhm.
in the wintertime, the first full moon of like in January and February.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And that was it's really fun, especially with a group of you. And the snow is deep and yeah.
Yeah.
So things like that I like as well.
Hmm. Definitely safest though as a group, or let somebody know where you are and when to expect you
Hmm.
back. So,
What you talk about the things you see at night. We were doing a night cache during one of the WSGA campouts down along the Snake River, and there was a whole bunch of us going down the trail, and and I heard a commotion behind me and people kind of making noises and concerns, and I turned around and the skunk had decided to join the procession behind me on the trail, and the people that were on the business end of the skunk were scattering everywhere.
yikes.
And it was a little black and white skunk just going down the trail behind it.
Yeah, just curious. What's everybody doing? Oh my
Like,
goodness, yeah. But also, the bonus about night caches is you generally don't see snakes. So yeah,
yeah, there's that.
one wildlife bonus. Oh yeah, scorpions. Thank you, Scott, for
Mhm.
mentioning that. They do glow under UV lights. Yeah, that's fascinating when you see that. And scary as heck. Yeah. Well, it looks as though we are winding down. Let's, Jim, did you have something more to add, or was
Yeah,
your hand still up? Oh, go ahead,
no,
Jim. Oh, no.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just because I talked about the night caches that I did, but we were talking about caching at night,
Yeah.
which is kind of the opposite end of it, because uh, one of the things I am known for locally, because I'm a night owl. I don't go to bed till like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever. That's usually when I go to bed. But I'm known locally for going after first to finds in the middle of the night. Well,
Mhm.
one of the reasons, of course, is we have a first to find hound that gets all the first to finds in the daytime. Well, he goes to bed. I don't. So if a cache comes out, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's a night friendly cache, which I have to, look to see if it's a night friendly cache first. But yeah, I'll travel, 50 miles up into Michigan or whatever to get a first to find up there in the middle of the night, just because, well, that's that way I can keep my first to find streak going, which might actually end this month, but whatever.
Oh,
Eh,
We got faith in you.
few more
yeah,
days.
yeah, we still have 10 days or whatever 10 days left, so we'll see.
Yeah.
If it ends, it ends. Whatever. But hopefully maybe something will get published tonight. A little bit later, and
Hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
maybe I'll
Okay.
go. Maybe I'll keep my reputation alive of being a night first definer.
There you go.
That's awesome.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good opportunity for sure. And you reminded me of one thing, and then we'll get to Tom Fuller next. Another thing about finding, day caches, not official night caches during the night. Um, Say it's a bison in a tree. They're hard to find during the daytime, especially if it's green and blends right in or whatever the color of the tree is. But with a flashlight, you can catch the reflection off of the metal. And sometimes that's the easier way to find some of those caches that are really hard during the day, come back at night. I saved myself on a streak by doing that. It was like 11:50 at night. I couldn't find it during the day, so I went back at night, and there it was. So, Tom Fuller, you're finally with us. It's like been having some connectivity.
Yeah, my camera failed, but
Oh, we got some echo.
I have a little audio problem too. I, I'm I remember doing one on Pine Mountain many years ago. And we found the cache okay, but somebody couldn't find their way back because there weren't any markers on the backside of those trees.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I waited about 20 minutes for somebody to come back.
Tom, I think you are in the room twice. I see two of you. That might be why you're having echo.
Yeah, okay. Bye.
Well, that leads me to the other thing I was going to mention was maybe some tips on setting up night caches, such as, putting the reflectors on the flip side so you can find your way back. Or, some things have changed over time as to what's acceptable for a night cache or a multi-cache, how to put those together. So I haven't put one out that I can think of ever. I've just found some over the years, but I know some of the guidelines have changed, and maybe there's some best practices if we want to hide one. If anyone would care to share any thoughts there.
Well, I think the first thing that pops into my mind is especially your trail of tax type hide is really maintenance heavy because it is, you're putting them out in vegetation that grows and covers the track or covers the tack.
Good, yeah.
And so setting them up, you might want to use telephone poles or something. But that's what just jumped into my mind when you were bringing this up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm unfamiliar with any changes to the guidelines. That's how long it's been since. I don't think I ever put one out either.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I just remember Megan, who has been often in the room with us, has had some issues regarding placement of the waypoints along the way. But I don't remember the details. It was many years ago. So, but she did finally get that published. And yeah.
Oh, one she was publishing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, when she was hiding.
Okay, so tacks on the poles, not a good idea.
Don't do that then. Okay.
No, bad idea.
No. And then UV lights, those can be employed in different ways also to work into your quote night caches. And there is an attribute for a couple attributes that actually apply. One is an official night cache, and then there's available 24/7 as well. So that's a couple other attributes to look out for when you're caching, or to be sure to use if you're publishing one.
And that's a good point. I remember early on in when I started, I went and got in the day, it was a night cache. And it was a night cache because, it was at the posted coordinates, and you opened up the ammo can and there's cards in there that you needed the UV light for to figure it out. But I didn't realize this. I was new, and I'm there in the middle of the day, and it was fall or spring or something. But I had a jacket on, and I'm trying to cover my head and the cache and everything to get it dark enough to make so I could see it.
Yeah. Oh, that was Scotty's, wasn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a night cache.
Yeah, which obviously confuses new people. So yeah, hopefully write a clear description, and hopefully they'll read it. Cool. Well, I'm not seeing any more hands, and we have 1 minute until drinks are full price, guys. So any last thought?
But not for the designated driver. They're free.
They're always free for the DD. Yeah, so's my water. Yeah. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up then. We do have a community event, like I said earlier, that started half an hour ago, but this is a community event. We still have another hour and a half to go. And we'll get to that since they're 2 hours long. And visit with our local friends. And
get or make dinner, one of the two.
Yeah. Then we have to have dinner. It's gonna be a very late dinner, but that's all right. Well, good. This was good discussion. It was fun hearing about y'all's experiences with night caches, and I'm definitely going to make time at Midwest Geobash. We're 98% sure we're going to be there, and yeah, and be sure to get that one in when we when. Pretty sure it's when. Like I said, 98% sure. Just haven't pulled the lever, the trigger on all that. So tonight is brought to you by our t-shirts. I think we have this one on our website. I'm not sure. And we have our very newest one, which I haven't even made yet. We just got the stock in late
Yeah,
yesterday.
you showed it to me.
Yeah, yeah, it's gold colored. It's really cool. It's summer roads, summer um, hidden treasures. One for summer road tripping, which is what a lot of us have been doing or are going to be
I gotta
planning to
tell
do
you,
this.
that's awfully close to country roads, and now that's out of my head again.
Oh no. Yeah, it was in our heads for weeks after Woodstock for sure. Say something and I'll find that link.
It was funny, we joke about that country roads take me home, stuck in our heads, and is a couple weeks later, finally it's out of my head. We go to our friend's retirement party, and then one of his friends has a t-shirt on that says Country Roads Take Me Home, and whoop, there it is, another week in my head.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't realize this. It's a popular song.
It's a very popular song. Heard in a lot of places. Okay, there is the link to our new brand new shirt. If you're a member of our t-shirt club or combo club, don't look. It'll be coming in the mail early next week. But spoilers are out there. So it's a nice design. I really like how it turned out.
So the local people understand why I say this. You don't get to make the Bloomsday shirts, do you?
No, not yet. Those are mass produced for 30,000 of your friends.
And I think the big draw is they got to be kept secret till somebody actually finishes the road race. So
yeah, it is a big secret. Yeah, Bloomsday is a large road race here.
Running.
In running. Yeah, but you run on the roads. Running race. In May, early May, I believe it is, and it's huge. Everybody gets a t-shirt when they finish it. I've done it once, and that was enough just to say that I'd done it. All right, well, thanks everybody. It's good to see you guys, everybody, and we'll be back on in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, happy caching. If you get out at night, be safe, but have a ton of fun, and we want to hear all about it next time.
Man, thanks to YouTubers.
Yeah, good to see you guys on YouTube for sure. So we'll see y'all in 2 weeks, same cache time.